a life more dedicated for gaining knowledge, skill, and attitude for happiness, because changes can happen overnight, but there are certain changes if you're ready. If you're not ready, nothing's gonna change anyway. So let's understand. So what is stress? Simply, we all know what is stress: a feeling of overwhelmed experiences in body and mind. So stress is our body's response to a thought. So there is a trigger, there's a thought, or there's a person, or there's an event, and we are not happy about that person, situation, or an event. We feel stressed out because that is not according to what we want to see and be and feel like. So basically, stress is a feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope up with mental or emotional pressure in the moment. It's basically a gap between our expected results and what we wish, and our imaginary positive results. So it's the unpreparedness of our being for any negative results. So we are not ready, we are stressed out. Now, many different situations or life events can cause stress. You need to find out what are your stressors. That's why those who joined on time, I told you, write down the names of people, situations, circumstances that caused where you feel this unwarranted stress in your body, right? What are your triggers? It's very important to identify the triggers where you feel these overwhelmed emotions, and it can be triggered at any time. Stress can be felt. I can make you stressed out right now with a small little task. So stress can be triggered anytime when we are not ready. Now, these are the generic concepts. How American Medical Association says, any interference that disturbs a person's mental or physical well-being is a stress. Now, we must be very careful and differentiate certain concepts in order to live a informed life. In order to understand stress, we must understand what is happiness. What do we want if we don't want stress? And we need to know the difference between happiness and pleasure. So happiness is an inward experience. It's a joy. It can be triggered with anything internally. All right. Now, happiness is basically our feeling of positivity and pleasant mindset. It's a state of well-being characterized by emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. And this can happen even by watching a rainbow, watching a bird or a pet, spending time with the loved ones, spending time with the friends. Happiness is an internal experience, whereas pleasure is a temporary joy or a thrill. I can give you an example. Pleasure is more of a sensory gratification, fun, enjoyment, thrill. You must have noticed when we are very, very hungry, extremely hungry, and we have our favorite food in front of us. The moment we finish eating that food, the hunger goes and the same favorite food lies on the table or in the bin. But when we are in happiness, if we are still connected with that moment of bliss, it's never enough. But the moment we finish eating our favorite food and we are burping, we don't want to eat it anymore. So pleasure is sensory. It gratifies the senses, whereas happiness is a food for the soul and experience for our inner being.
Okay.
You have seen this?
Yes. Great.
This, we are here.
Okay.
All right. So we know now that there's a difference between happiness and pleasure. When we have a new car, when we have a favorite food, when we have our favorite perfume, when we have our favorite item that we always wanted to buy. A kid crying for a toy, now they have a toy, now 1 to 10 toys, and when we have it, the feeling of gratification is realized, pleasure is over, the same thing lies somewhere here and there. So that's a pleasure. And happiness is an internal joy and a feeling of bliss. It can be triggered by watching nature, by playing with the pet. So that's pleasure and happiness. We must also differentiate then between pain and suffering. Pain is something physical. It's an unpleasant feeling in our body caused by maybe medical treatment, acidic pain, headache, migraine, something that is happening to our physical body in our experience. And what is suffering then? Suffering is when we are thinking that why it's me all the time I have headaches, why it's me who always falls sick, why this is happening to me, poor me, life is not fair, and one thing happened one time and I'm cribbing all my life. Why did I get, for example, why I did I was second in my 10th class exam results, and why my friend was first. When we have these types of self talks, we are then converting our pain into suffering. When we are sleeping with the thought of that pain, even if when the pain disappears, that's called suffering. And they say pain is something that we cannot avoid, but suffering is optional. How it is optional? When we can change the self dialogue, when we can learn to say it's okay, it's fine, and let's move on. So this is the language that we speak to ourselves, from why me to why not, and let's go and let it be. It's okay, life is more beautiful, and the self dialogue causes this conversion from pain to suffering. So we got to ask ourselves, what is our self dialogue? Are we having a dialogue which is converting our momentary pain into suffering? And how that reflection is gonna come, it won't come unless until we sit quiet and have this internal dialogue. And if we do not have time to sit in quiet moments and have this internal dialogue, we will never know our root cause of the problem. Now let's find out what causes the stress to start with. Right? I hope this is clear. The difference between what is stress, what is pleasure, what is happiness, and now what are the causes of stress. Now, if we are able to find out answers of three biggest questions in our life for everything that we do and have in our life. So why we want something that we want, how we are going to get it, and what exactly we want. So what we want is the bigger question. How we will get there is the means to get there, and why do I want it? The most hidden layer inside our subconscious mind is why. What is important for me? Why I need to have happiness, why I need to have a promotion, why I need to have a relationship or an award or education. Why? So what happens, as per the research done, top 5 values will drive 80% of our actions in our life. Our entire life as a human being on earth is driven by our value system. What does that mean? What is a value? Value is a fundamental reason for us to act. When we wake up in the morning, something drives us to get out of the bed and start action. We are working, we are living on this earth because of something. Okay, so what is that something? We need to find out that core reason for existence, what drives our physical being and mental being. What is important for me in life causes all my actions, and my actions then become my reality, and my reality around becomes my personality. And if my life is not happy in the moment, it means the I have to go back to the root cause, which is my value. What am I valuing? And it's not necessary that what you have a value is your true value. Maybe this is a value installed by a parent or by a family or a culture or society. Maybe I'm having those core values which are in conflict with my own needs, desires, and values. And let's find out how that works. I'm giving you on the right hand side some values here, and there can be n number of values. If you can just write down immediately on a piece of paper what drives your value system. For example, is it something to do with a growth, contribution, gratitude, integrity, charity, freedom, security, variety, having fun, relationships, love, peace? I'll give you some of the examples. Those who are driven by one core value system. Mother Teresa was driven from contribution and love. Her core values were contribution, love, compassion, charity. Core five values are making Mother Teresa. Mahatma Gandhi's core values were non-violence. My personal core value I have listed here. My top core values here: growth, contribution. I want to grow in terms of knowledge. Turning 47, I'm going for PhD, so I am somebody who's academic. I want to learn things. I want to give back to society. I'm really feeling thankfulness all my life. I mean, now write down top five values that you think you want. There was somebody who really appreciated freedom so much, they resign and do some other careers, join some other life altogether. Hitler's core value was what? Ruling the world, power, control. That was driving his life. So ask yourself, what is driving your life?